Rifle squad ready for action.
Welcome to a pretty big series. This one's going to be Luvnest versus Paul. Paul has experienced limited success in my tournaments, but sometimes he comes through and wins a big series. This time it's going to be Luvnest versus Paul. I don't think this matchup has ever happened in Star-Crossed Kings, but it has happened in Star-Crossed Cup. Luvnest was up against Paul, and Paul won in Star-Crossed Cup 2 in that best-of-3 series, and Paul went on to the finals, where he lost against Jeslyn. So, Paul has beaten Luvnest in a competitive setting before. Of course, that was not this patch. It was quite a while ago. It wasn't this map. Things are going to be completely shaken up, so I'm curious to see how this game's going to go. Paul has locked in Rifle Company, which I know he uses quite frequently, and Luvnest is playing as Oster with Lightning Moor, Mechanized Assault, and Close Air Support. So very good chance of Strugi versus Rifle Company or Close Air Support versus Rifle Company, which is a matchup we see quite a lot. Curious to see which of these players is going to come out on top of that. There's the first veteran rifle call in for Paul. He will make his way towards the left side hard with these two squads of riflemen and prevent Luvnest from completing his wire, engaging them from range. Rear echelon troops looking for opportunities here in the middle. If those grenadiers disengage from them, they may continue to simply capture the center VP, while riflemen work the fuel. Vet riflemen move towards this area to support in the engagement against those grenadiers. Paul doesn't look like he wants to try and cross that river. It would bleed him pretty hard to make that attempt, so he's going to wait for support to arrive from this rifle squad before charging. And Piles will prevent the completion of this barbed wire over here on the center VP. Meanwhile, on the right, grenadiers are taking control of the fuel strategic points. Get those resources coming in this engagement. Rear echelon troops haven't retreated quite yet.
Orders!
Riflemen jump into this building right here. Engage against grenadiers in green cover. They only have, actually, quite a few east-facing windows, apparently. I think I saw at least 3 different models firing. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell with this building exactly where they can stand and fire out the right side, but apparently, quite a few. Riflemen move back into the building, take it away from Luvnest right there. Quite a few windows from which they can engage. Might be able to drop a couple grenadier models here. Continues to simply stall, capture the left side. He has got the munitions and victory points now. Rear echelon troops are going deep right to start harassing that fuel point while these grenadiers take control of the munitions. Fully completed wire right here to block Paul from taking back control of the center VP. He's going to circle right to engage against these squads, but he may struggle against that flamethrower, Pio, and grenadier combination. Rifle squad falling a little low. Second rifle squad moving to try and support here. Paul may have to retreat from this, though. That squad is taking a lot of damage. There's the retreat. We'll get away. This squad backpedaling slightly. MG42 firing on that rifle squad will force the retreat. And grenadiers are pushing those riflemen away, but Paul is doing great harassment here of the right side with those rear echelon troops, cutting Luvnest off from any fuel income, at least temporarily. And he has a lieutenant on the field now, and going into utility car. Going to see 3 riflemen lieutenant utility car despite having gone rifle company. That's not necessarily that common. I guess it's pretty common. OMG Pop does the same thing. I don't think it's quite as popular as going captain tier, but I think both seem to see pretty much equal usage. This is more of an early pressure build. Riflemen going in hard on the grenadiers in this building, although they get bled pretty badly on the approach right there into this green cover. They will be able to force Luvnest out soon. These riflemen move to start taking control of the munitions right there, while the rear echelons are grabbing pretty much everything else over here on the right side, which Luvnest has been completely forced away from. And the M20 will probably force that M20 away too, although it looks like he wants to pull back from that engagement slightly to let his armor skirts complete and run over some of this razor wire on the victory point as well to give his squads here some flanking opportunities. Rear echelon troops will be forced away from the right side victory point by those grenadiers, and riflemen move to take control of the munitions. There goes the MG-42, allowing the lieutenant to start working on the munitions point. There's a 2-2-1 on the field for Luvnest to try and counter the M20, and an ambulance is in production for Paul now as well. M20 heading hard left to try and get rid of these grenadiers. And Luvnest looks like he is going to charge that M20 over open ground, take a little bit of bleed, but get the Faust off, so it has to pull back for repairs. 2-2-2 probably can't safely try and kill that thing. And it doesn't look like he's going to make the attempt. He's just going to sit here, blasting the lieutenant with the autocannon, trying to force this retreat. Kind of a late retreat from Paul at this point. There they go.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
I don't know if that's going to get away. Nope. Lieutenant gets sniped by an autocannon shot. Bazooka leaves the M20 to make its way right side to try and engage against that 2-2-2. The loss of his lieutenant's definitely going to hurt Paul quite badly. He's got to do some healing here in the base on his ambulance. And he's probably going to have to try and wipe something with his utility car if he's going to pull back even in this game. Double MG-42 for Luvnest now, and on this map that's probably a pretty okay decision. There's a lot of red cover in the river here. Utility car, nice play by Paul. Utility car brings it low with the 50 cal, and the bazooka moving up from the south snipes it with a long-range bazooka hit. Bit of bad luck by Luvnest, and that 2-2-2 goes down. His reverse path wasn't very good because of that tree right there, so he kind of got stuck a little bit. Let that 2-2-2 fall low, so that'll help Paul pull even. The loss of his lieutenant hurts, but taking out his opponent's light vehicle will give him a distinct advantage in the mobility department. And that M20 will be able to circle around the map and start forcing retreats, especially from flamethrower squads and especially from machine guns. There's the first flamethrower upgrade on Paul's riflemen, which are going to go hard right to get that fuel back under control. And the vehicle crew, with his job done, is pretty much just a backcapping squad at this point. He will get the victory point under control and then retreat. Luvnest should probably be able to get the left side fuel under control next.
We're losing a capture point. We have a lieutenant reporting in for duty.
Rear echelon troops slowly repairing the utility car over here, and riflemen are moving to connect the victory point and the fuel point. Repairs on the utility car are halted by those grenadiers. Riflemen will simply stop to continue the capture of the munitions point while the M20 scares that grenadier squad off. Fresh lieutenant on the field from Paul. Apparently he feels that was worth a 300 manpower cost to get that BAR, that free BAR and Thompson back on the field. 200 to initially purchase a lieutenant, 300 to repurchase. So that's 500 manpower spent on lieutenants this game. Pretty expensive at this point. Riflemen walk straight into a machine gun right here. They're going to be forced to retreat. Riflemen on the right side of the map try and get in flamethrower range on those grenadiers. It looks like they are successful, bringing the squad down pretty quickly. Big crit right there, and there's the retreat. Lieutenant trying to harass the left side VP will also get shut down by machine guns. So these machine guns seem to be doing a pretty good job of at least holding on to the territory Luvnest does have, and he has set up a triple cap against Paul right now. Paul makes a full retreat from all three fronts to get some healing done on those rifle squads. Armor-piercing rounds equipped on that machine gun, but it's futile. It's cheap, though. It's not like he lost that much munitions to do that. Probably worth the attempt. And he has gone close air support, so close air support has been chosen. And it's going to be close air support versus Rifle Company, which can be a very heated matchup. Usually pretty RNG-tastic too because of all the flamethrowers on both sides, although Luvnest will probably go harder into LMG Grenadiers than flamethrowers on this map. Flamethrowers don't really make quite as much sense. And unfortunately, Paul will not have access to LMGs of any kind, just flamethrowers, so that will give Luvnest a pretty distinct advantage, and Paul's going to have to work very hard to avoid getting strafed to death. He does not want to get pushed into his base too many times as a result of this behavior. Fortunately, Luvnest is not up to 6 CPs yet, so he can still blob around a little bit without having to worry too much about it. There's a fresh 2-2-1 on the field being upgraded with the 2-2-2 upgrade, so major setup right here on the ambulance, gonna do some healing. Lieutenant moving into yellow cover right here to try and harass the victory point. MG42 moving up on the right side. Paul will need to stay clear of its arc of fire if it pops on... For some reason that's on cooldown. Maybe it... I don't even know what the deal is with that. Okay. This machine gun still seems to be fine, and again, Paul does not have smoke. Until he researches smoke, those machine guns will continue to force pretty easy retreats if Paul just walks straight into them. Grenadiers actually catch an ambulance a little bit out of position right there, but the M20 is moving to try and push them away. The ambulance should be fine as long as it keeps kiting. Run, little ambulance! Grenadier squad should probably not overextend into the entire blob either. Vehicle crew will get the ambulance repaired, and all these squads should be able to heal up just fine, but Paul needs to get back control of his cutoff right there. And he's lost both fuels thanks to nice harassment over here on the left by LMG Grenadiers and Flamethrower Pyos. You can see that the huge munitions boost Luvnest now has, thanks to redistribute resources, is giving him a very high firepower army that Paul is struggling to deal with a little bit, and he has not purchased any further infantry beyond his 3-rifle lieutenant opening. His rear echelon troops still in the utility car. He's got the vehicle crew running around. Clearly he's trying to rush a Sherman out as quickly as he can, and he will have one quite soon. And once that hits the field, he should be able to start putting pressure on these LMG Grenadiers and Flamethrower Pyos. I don't know if Paul has quite sensed that his opponent has gone close to their support yet, but he'll know soon. He might still be a little leery of the threat of the Stug-E, depending on what he's sensing right now. Ambulance will get away from that autocannon just barely in time. Flamethrowers blobbing straight down the middle. Need to be careful of that machine gun, though. Still no grenade tech from Paul because, of course, he's trying to get that Sherman on the field absolutely as quickly as possible.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
222 peeks again and picks up the ambulance. Paul didn't quite protect well enough with his bazooka right there. Still doesn't have smoke, but the Sherman is in production. Losing his ambulance is a bit of a setback that kind of hurts. Oh no, and that AT gun positioning was pretty good. M20 needs to get back to safety. Will pop smoke and prevent itself from receiving a Panzerfaust, and the smoke will actually screen away that machine gun, so this will allow Paul to brute force his way down the middle, pulls that back for some repairs, and he's also harassing the left side simultaneously with this squad of riflemen. These two squads jumping into red cover here may be a little bit vulnerable to that LMG Grenadier setup here in this green cover position. He's trying to charge into close range, but he's getting bled pretty hard on this advance. But the Flamethrower will make it to the engagement and start working on those LMG Grenadiers. There's a crit. Lieutenant has to retreat after taking too much bleed. And a rifle grenade! Oh no! Pops the Flamethrower. And the squad does not get away.
Just got a report of an infantry unit being
No dodge by Paul right there. There's probably a pretty decent amount of lag this game. Paul lives in New York and Luvnest is in Germany, so depending on which battle server they've connected to, at least one of these players is probably lagging a little bit, so we might see some late dodges on both sides this game. Nice grenade by Luvnest. Top-mount machine gun coming here from the Sherman. High explosive rounds. Also equipped. If he can try and pick up a couple of squad wipes with this Sherman, try and equalize things, that would definitely help. He's lost an ambulance and a full rifle squad and a lieutenant this game, so he's a little behind for manpower. The only things he's killed in exchange are an armored car. I don't think Luvnest has lost any full infantry squads. Model losses are kind of even, Paul falling behind by about 10. But yeah, the only thing that Luvnest has lost is an armored car this game, so for manpower, he's really doing quite well. Utility car going in hard from the right flank. Look at that flank on that pack. That pack is probably totally screwed. Nicely executed play there by Paul. Here comes an anti-infantry strafe for the Flamethrower squad. That will at least prevent Paul from stealing this thing. And also, nice retreat path on the AT gun. Utilizing all these hills and stuff to their advantage so that AT gun could get to safety, and Paul may have no choice but to disengage from this. I don't think he can win this engagement. There's a Panzerfaust on his M20, experiencing a bit of a traffic jam. He also has no munitions for smoke. Oh my god, get that Sherman out of there. Paul, is that really gonna die right now? Yes, the Sherman goes down. Oh no! I think Paul miscalculated a little bit during that engagement. No munitions for smoke, and he loses a Sherman just as sitting in front of an AT gun. A really well executed flank suddenly goes horribly wrong. That M20 just died too. How did that even happen? Armor piercing rounds from that machine gun, and the M20 is destroyed. Wow, these plays by Luvnest, I can't even believe what I'm seeing right now. These two squads harassing territory on the right side should get Paul another Sherman sort of soon, but that series of engagements went so badly. And Paul still doesn't have grenades to try and pick up wipes and flank engagements either. Full retreat by Paul other than the harassing squads on the right, which will probably get pushed back by the 222 soon. Gonna do some healing and reinforcement here in the base.
A capture point is under attack. We're taking fire! We're taking lead over here! Order! We're losing a capture point. What the hell am I meant to do with these
Flamethrowers engaging each other here on the munitions point. Luvnest moving to take control of these territories on the right side, and Paul is going to move his forces to try and get all of this territory back under control himself. 222 is going to arrive with the autocannon to try and start bleeding these forces a little bit. There's no HMG set up here on this particular approach. Rifle grenade is off target. Paul's taken only one loss so far. Lieutenant trying to work on the center victory point. MG-42 on the right side defending the victory point, and Grenadiers holding onto the fuel. Flamethrower riflemen push across the river, but they will hit this machine gun. There's a little bit of green cover from this Sherman wreck that they could take advantage of while they try and kill that thing. And Luvnest will simply retreat away from the threat of flamethrowers. Autocannon is bringing the lieutenant pretty low right here. He's simply going to retreat. And after forcing a retreat from that machine gun, Paul will also retreat. He has a vehicle crew and rear echelon troops doing map harassment in the back to try and get some fuel coming in, try and get that next Sherman out as quickly as he can. There's now a Panzer IV on the field for Luvnest, which is probably going to put immense pressure on Paul during the period of time that he does not have a Sherman on the field, because Paul has knocked on Captain tier and does not have any access to anti-tank other than rifle grenades and Sherman armor-piercing rounds, which is not very good. He's probably going to want to get an AT gun somehow, whether that means stealing one of Luvnest's or taking Captain. I don't know if he can win this game without AT guns. Or maybe another M20 for late game mines, but I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. He's in a pretty difficult situation right now. I don't know if he can recover from all these wipes. Riflemen chase away a Grenadier squad over here on the right side. Anti-infantry strafe in the middle is off target, doesn't pin anything. Flamethrowers going in on that flamethrower squad right there will force it to retreat, but the Panzer IV is here to prevent those riflemen from pushing too hard. Anti-tank gun and LMG Grenadiers set up on the left side will prevent any advancement by that vehicle crew and rear echelon troops. They will both retreat, and everything in the middle will also make a full retreat from that Panzer IV. How did Luvnest's scout car die? I missed it.
We're losing a capture point.
What happened? That's the first 222. There's the M20. I don't see the wreck anywhere. I don't know what happened. Luvnest lost his second scout car at some point, so that's a nice pickup by Paul. Oh, there it is. Vehicle crew got it with a bazooka. Nice pickup. Nice pickup. Flamethrowers engaging against those Grenadiers will push that squad into retreating. Panzer IV rotating to this side. Blob over here on the right engaging against these Grenadiers and HMG as well. Full retreat by Paul again. And all those squads also going to make a full retreat. Flamethrower squad's moving up to engage against that Grenadier squad right there. Here comes an anti-tank strafe on all of Paul's stuff. Oh my god, that was carnage. Pops the flamethrower and wipes another rifle squad. And wow, that's the game. Paul just had too many early wipes. First he lost his lieutenant not paying attention to that scout car. Then he lost a rifle squad. Lost another rifle squad in this engagement right here. He just kind of took too many. I think he lost three full squads, riflemen and veteran riflemen. Apparently his medics died. Oh, and his ambulances got sniped, and his Sherman died. So yeah, a lot of early losses by Paul there, and that's not something you can generally afford against close air support. So Luvnest takes full control of the game. Well played by Luvnest. 21-minute victory. He has 418 VPs. Let's see if Paul can turn things around in game 2.